Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Plant and Water. I'm Dennis Washington, and this is not Richard Harp.
Sorry, guys.
Johnathan Johnson, our youth minister here at Deerfoot Church of Christ. Richard taking a well-deserved vacation.
Oh, yeah.
It's some good quality time with the family and visiting some more family, I believe, too. So it's definitely good that. But we're happy to have you here today.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I've always wanted to be in the background of the shows. I try to make an appearance every now and then.
We joked about, is JJ going to pop up behind me and Richard for one of these episodes at some point? So we wanted to take today's episode, since Richard was out, and talk a little bit about youth ministry. Because, and as you know, today, being the 8th day of August, a lot of kids going back to school here in this area. A lot of the kids in our youth group going back to school today. But it kind of it's the beginning of school, but it's the end of what is normally for youth ministers in churches all over the country. The end of a very busy 3 months.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And it's a slowdown. It's not a complete stop. It takes a break from from early in the morning until late at night. You finally get to rest, and then the next day you're getting ready for the next campaign day or the next VBS day or whatever trip you're on. But now it slows down to that. All right, we got a area wide in a couple weeks, or we got a local Devo in a couple weeks, and then there are a few events in between months. So it kind of slows down thanks to school, but you get a little break there.
Talk to me a little bit, because we've talked about this some before the show today, and even in previous weeks. For youth ministers versus non-youth ministers. Summertime is a sign of, hey, we can take vacation. It's some fun time. It's some downtime from the work. The kids are out of school for 2 to 3 months, whatever. But for you, and even this affects, I know, your family as well, but for you, it's really like your peak season. There's no really dead time for you during the summer.
From the time the kids take their final exam, it's go time. And of course, youth ministers make their plan at the end of summer for the next summer. So at the end of our youth campaign, which started in June, I was making plans to find another place to go for our youth campaign for next year.
Wow.
So you start, even years out sometimes on some of this stuff. So the time they take their final exam, it's go time on the first event for summertime, getting ready to kick it off with our area-wide youth retreat with our local area churches.
So you've already made plans for next summer then, basically.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You start lining up different things, your youth campaign. You have some people calling you, hey, can you come with us this year? And I'll say, no, I'll put you on next year, which is a great thing to have. But as soon as you're planning an event during that event, that's amazing. That's staying ahead. That's being scheduled, and I thank my wife for that, because she's the one that said, "Hey, have you done this?" She's the scheduler. I'm the doer. We've all it's a team effort in youth ministry. Trust me. Yeah.
Well, all right. So that brings up another good point. And I know there are some youth ministers out there that are not married, but even those that are not married, there's always someone in the background that's got their back, that's really helping, because it's not a solo effort to run a successful youth ministry.
That's right. And if it's not your wife, it's the church secretary. Yeah. If it's not the church secretary, it's going to be the parent.
Right.
Hey, what are we doing next?
So you bring up a good point about the parents. So I realize that I'm a parent of one of the 2 kids in the youth group at this point, but talk a little bit about the role of parents in a successful youth ministry. I mean, how valuable are the parents to you, as far as not just planning, but the execution of the plans as well?
Right. Parents are there. I rely on the parents, and other parents rely on me to understand their children sometimes, but I hope the parents are raising their kids. It's not the youth minister's job. It's just to be there and go to their games and enjoy them. But the role of parent, it's important to have them to come and support the youth group, to help out with chaperoning or being on trips or kind of come up with ideas that the youth minister and his wife have failed to remember. Hey, did you remember it's, oh yeah.
Right.
Or to come up with new ideas that they hear from other kids and their parents. So communication really with the parents and hear what the kids tell the parents and what I hear from the kids to their parents is very valuable.
Yeah, the communication.
Hey,
I mean, it all starts
number one.
with their, it's I worked in TV for almost 20 years, and it's a communication business. But even then, sometimes I've noticed TV stations or businesses in general, big or small, have communication issues sometimes internally communicating. So, extremely valuable. Well, let's talk a little bit, because for folks that maybe don't have kids in the youth group or didn't have, weren't aware of some of the activities, let's go through this summer, which seems like it was probably a very typical summer as far as youth activities, and let's talk about what actually happened this summer and kind of look back a little bit. I don't want to spend a history lesson today, but kind of looking back at. So I guess the unofficial start to summer for many of us is Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
As kids are graduating school or getting out for the summer. So, when it's the end of May for you, and that's kind of the time that you're really kicking things up from medium speed to high speed. What does the start of summer look like for you and for the youth group?
Well, our area-wide devotionals is kind of the end to that, but it kicks off our summer with the area-wide youth retreat. So it's the end of the area-wide devotionals, but the kickoff for our summer events. Okay. And so we end our winter time into summertime or springtime with the area-wide youth retreat. It's very good. It kind of kicks things off, and then we go into our girls and guys retreat after that, kind of to enjoy that, and we take a day at Six Flags and hang out there and ride all the rides and just have a good time with that. It's kind of getting everybody back in the groove of, hey, it's fun time, summertime, know? And then what really starts off our events here at Deerfoot is our VBS. That's the young and the young at heart get together, and we start focusing on our young people in our community, which is great for our youth group to see what work goes out into the community to have a successful VBS. So,
and for people that may not know what VBS is,
it's a vacation Bible school.
And some churches will do their vacation Bible school like us at the beginning of summer, maybe some in the middle of summer, and some towards the end of summer. I guess it kind of depends on maybe historically when they've done it or when they have other events scheduled. Like if you've got other things you're doing in the summer, that may be the only week of the summer that you can do a VBS.
Well, for us, that is it. It's the kickoff for our summertime, because the rest of summer, man, and you'll see here in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
So this year's VBS, It
was the Incredible Stories of the Bible.
The Incredible Stories.
Incredible Stories of the Bible, and we did the whole The Incredibles movie theme. Try to time with that.
There are visions of someone that kind of resembled you that would look like Mr. Incredible or the Incredible.
Oh yeah, that would be Captain Faith.
Captain Faith. That's right. For some reason, we don't have pictures of Captain Faith today. So
we never see. Well, we won't go into that. But Captain Faith, he's a relative of mine. I like to call him my brother.
Absolutely.
If not my brother in Christ. So he makes his rounds, and then of course his sidekick, or I don't know if I'm his sidekick or his sidekick, Rambling Randy or Rambling Richard, whichever one wants to fill it at the time. So but that was really good. And when we talked about different stories of the Bible that had that were incredible, of course some of the topics were the incredible friendship, incredible courage, faith, and forgiveness. Were some of the topics we went through with the kids, and it's really neat. It's always a good time, and our VBS I feel like we step up a notch each time we do it. It just it's really cool.
You talk about the team effort, but I would say that's probably one of the biggest team events that you do as a youth group that requires the most amount of people to be involved. Because you're inviting both kids and adults from around the community into the building to talk, to go through the skit. But you got skits, you got crafts, you've got refreshments afterwards for the kids even too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that requires a lot of people to be involved.
And it is a team effort. I mean, this guy doesn't do it by himself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm behind the scenes, you know, and there's a group of people here that are phenomenal at putting a VBS together. Decorations, crafts, like you said.
How soon do you start, you and I guess the team that really works on VBS, how soon do you start planning the next VBS?
Like all good things start on a Facebook page and, you know, your little chats and stuff.
Right.
And we meet, we start throwing ideas together now, you know, just what can we do, you know, and start running a Facebook chat on that. And then when it gets closer to VBS time, probably the beginning of next year, we'll start meeting together and building off those ideas. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, start planning and what foods we want to get for our snacks to get together, and crafts and things like that. So
that's amazing.
The earlier you start on stuff, it's planning, you know, it's scheduling. Planning is always a good thing.
I admit I tend to be a procrastinator on some things. I'm guilty of that. But I guess the more planning you put into something, and I guess it also comes back to, if you get people involved, you know, you do have to make sure you start a little sooner, but the more people involved, the better the team effort equals a better result on that as well. So, all right. So it sounds like VBS was a fantastic success this year.
Very, yeah. A lot of people reached, and a lot of good communication out to the community and our church. So that was good. And of course, that's the kickoff, and then we roll right in. I think we get a break or two, or a week or two in between each event. Okay. Usually just a week, but our next thing was youth campaign.
Okay. So tell people what you meant by youth campaign. What is that?
Youth campaign is we go and help out a church, reach out to their community.
Okay.
And typically, I typically like to go to a smaller church that can use the help to reach out. This year was Williamston, South Carolina. Okay. Williamston Church of Christ.
All right.
And I think their attendance was 20-25 people when.
So you're saying on a Sunday morning they'll have normally 20 to 25 people in their church building.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's great. You know. I was reached out last year while we were in North Tampa doing their campaign. Don Votoff from Williamston Church of Christ reached out to me during that campaign and said, "Can you come this year?" And I said, "Man, we're already on a campaign. I'll put you." And that's the great thing about it.
Yeah.
Now, that's planning and scheduling.
Right.
He said, "Can you come to Williamston Church of Christ?" And you know, I saw y'all do this years ago, and it was fantastic. And it reached out to the community and held a gospel meeting with it. And I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So, Williamston, South Carolina, Williamston Church of Christ was the trip this year for our youth campaign. We did door knocking, which is going out and handing out a brochure about the gospel meeting, who's speaking, which Richard went on and spoke on this one.
Okay.
And we did a car wash. So people that came up to the church building, or whether we went out or they came to us, we were able to talk to them about the gospel meeting.
Right.
So
it's
a week long of fun.
Well, a week long of fun. So you're basically going into somewhere away from here, several hours away from here, to a church congregation, preferably one that's smaller, maybe that could use the assistance in door knocking or reaching out to the community, doing good things for people in the neighbors around the church building, and inviting people to come to worship there at the church building. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, it is. It's good for the kids. It's good for both groups. Good for the church there, and good for our youth group and our adults that go. Not only are you helping the church, but you're serving, and it's giving that servant's heart. Reaching out to that community and seeing what other parts of the U.S. are going through. Not just Alabama, but
because I guess we can. It's really easy
different
to
cultures.
Kind of you get kind of wrapped up in what's happening in your own little community, your own little world, and while we all kind of share a lot of similar struggles, but there's unique things that happen in different parts, even your neighbors, but even other parts of the country that you wouldn't think that's an issue for y'all that wouldn't be for us. Kind of
exactly.
Thing. So,
well,
all right. So, tell me about this year's youth campaign, because we were kind of talking you had pulled, I think, together some numbers and success on the campaign.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did this year's youth campaign really?
It was an incredible youth campaign. I think the kids came back just ecstatic. They were pumped. They were. they were built close together.
Yeah.
You know, the encouragement they gave one another through this, it was incredible, and they've stuck with it. So, you know, a couple months from campaign, and they're still building off each other, which was a great thing for us.
Yeah.
But for the church there at Williamston, knocking on the doors, BCCs were 47, prayer requests were 52. And we just reached a lot of homes around that area.
So you said BCCs. What is a BCC?
Those are a series of Bible studies. They're Bible correspondent courses that are free. They're non-denominational. And they allow the person at home to receive this study, fill it out, turn it back in, or mail it back in, and we grade them here. And then we send the next lesson to them. So they get to study in their home, you know, on their own. And I think it kind of encourages that person to study the Bible. It helps them to understand the Word.
So if someone is maybe not able to go to church but would like to study the Bible and learn what the Bible says, kind of an introductory lesson or series of lessons into that, they can get these mailed to them in the mail, and they read through what they've received and take the quiz, and then send that back, and someone here at the church building will grade the quiz, kind of like school.
Hey, that's how you learn.
Well, that's true, but it's true. It's how you learn, I guess, because then you'll get the answers back, and if you missed any, I guess, is there an explanation about, you know, the right answer if you mark something wrong? I mean, I would guess we would include an explanation about.
It's great, and you can go back and search again and understand the answer. And of course, we always give our information, you know, on these books to call one of us ministers or you know, the office staff and to help study that answer. You know,
that's really neat. So,
it is pretty cool.
I do know we have on our website at deerfootcoc.com, there's a link where if you want one of these Bible, if you're listening today or watching the podcast, you know, you can go to deerfootcoc.com and sign up for one of the BCC, the Bible correspondence courses. So if that's something that interests you, it's
please do. You know, it's a good thing to do. It helps you to study.
Absolutely.
That's great. Get into the Scripture.
All right, so now here we are in the middle of June. We've had the VBS for a week, and we've had this youth campaign for a little over a week, and we're finally getting towards. Now let me stop here for a second, because you mentioned before we got into the youth campaign, you said, you know, you get kind of like a week or maybe two break, but there's really not a break, is there? I mean, is there? I know it's not a big event, but for you, I mean, these kids are out of school during the summer. There's got to be some stuff, that even little stuff that might happen in between the big stuff. Maybe it's not planned, but these kids, if I understand, at least from the way I hear from my kids, they're always kind of planning to do stuff.
Right. Oh yeah. There's, you know,
maybe even at the last minute kind of plans.
It's always last minute for that. It's we'll come to class. You know, we'll have a Wednesday night class. Well, we have a Wednesday night summer series, but you know, we're all gathered together and it's like, hey, y'all want to go out to eat, or you want to go bowling, or you know, there are small events, and our area-wise get together too during those little bit breaks when we can. You know, summertime for the different churches like us, you know, they're out doing things. So kind of the same schedule is nearly impossible. But
well, so much of the summer is scheduled, but even in those little gaps, you know, trying to fill in the gaps to where there's almost something going on constantly. And I guess that, you know, when you look back at your summer, you know, obviously the big events fill up a majority of that, but then you even look back at the gaps and like, we were doing something almost every day.
Oh man,
with at least someone from the youth group. So, you know, for you, that's almost 8 to 10 weeks of just nonstop. You know,
it does. You start walking like a zombie towards the end there. Well, and those breaks really is when you come back. It's time to do laundry. It's time to get a little refresh in, because you know that next week you got to start getting. Your information sheets together, your sign-up sheets, and hopefully you've already done that. But you know, you got to make sure people paid. You got to make sure the waivers are signed. And, you know, just make sure everybody's on board. You got everything ready to go. Because
it's more than just, hey, let's get in the
right.
Bus
Oh go. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more.
Well, and the other part of being a youth minister, he's just not youth minister. He's in charge of the buses. AC's out of the bus. Oh man, you got a week to go get that fixed. Well, let's go get that done.
Exactly.
Just different things like that.
Exactly.
But it's fun. It keeps you on your toes, keeps you busy, so you don't have time to twiddle your thumbs. But
it is interesting, because when you think about ministers, you know, maybe if you say just the word minister, I mean, maybe someone would think of a preacher.
Right.
But for youth ministry, you're doing a lot more than just ministering to the spiritual needs of the kids, because there's a lot of planning and things, event planning, and all that other stuff that goes into the job of a youth minister that maybe some people don't even realize. So.
Right. And hopefully with that, the kids and the parents and anybody who's watching a youth minister can see the light shining about it. You know what I mean? You can see the Christian attitude that comes from, because you have little downtime to be a mean grouch.
Right.
Hey guys, you ready to go? And I know some of my kids in here are probably like, JJ, what's wrong with you? Because I was like, hey.
Well, you're human. I mean,
it's a fun challenge.
Right.
And it does keep you on your toes, but
it's
a blessing to have this job.
It is. All right. So we've been through VBS now. We've been through the youth campaign. We've filled in the gaps, and we're hitting the end of June now.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the 1st of July, 4th of July. Is like, all right, we're almost halfway through the summer now, finally. Yeah. But there's still no rest.
Oh man, no! You jump right into camp, Maywood Christian Camp. It's a fantastic week, and it's just not for Deerfoot. It's for any churches around Church of Christ to come and meet. And I think they call it. And I'm tagging along. I wasn't always into Maywood.
Well, you and I both grew up as part of this.
Right. So camp for me was when I met Nia. Yeah. And so she goes, "You want to go camp?" I was like, "Sure." But now, you're involved. You're doing it, and it's a fantastic week. It's a busy week. It's a tiresome week, but it's a fantastic week for young and old alike.
Yeah. Well, Richard and I were both up there this year. Richard, I think, went some as a kid, but it had been almost like 20 years ago, I think, since he had been there. Yeah. And I've been now for, I think this was my 10th year to go to Maywood up there and as on staff, and just it's fantastic. It is an exhausting week though.
Oh man!
I mean, you talk, so if we could do almost a whole show on levels of exhaustion here. So there's VBS exhaustion. There is youth campaign exhaustion. But I'm guessing Maywood exhaustion might be the biggest out of all of them three.
Yeah, Maywood it's the heat, it's the kids, it's the fun, it's all that of exhaustion.
And come Friday afternoon when we're struggling to come back in from Hamilton, it is it is a great week though. Now, so talk a little bit about Maywood this year, because I mean it felt like a good week, and I think you had pulled some numbers and some results.
It was a good week. The study book there was about choices. Mm-hmm. What choices you want to make in life. Your choice to choose Christ. Even to the point, I worked with Hunter Kinnerman when he was a youth minister at Asheville Road. Yeah. And we had 11, 12, 13-year-old kids. And we got to the subject, it was choosing your spouse. And you're like, okay, there's never a young time for a kid to choose their spouse. And I guess you need to start thinking about that at 11, 12, 13-year-old. But, we went over it, went through it. It was great. And the kids had a lot of good discussion about it because, the parents, they got the parents to look at. Yeah. So the choices was the theme for that. It was a great week. We ended up baptizing from Deerfoot 2 of our young kids.
That's great.
Parker Stanley was one of them. And George Shoemaker Jr. had the joy of baptizing Nico Sugita, which was a great sight to see. It's always good to see family.
It is
baptize another family member, and the love they have for each other.
There's no doubt. I mean, it was 3 years ago, I think, when I baptized my 2 girls there at Maywood.
That's great.
Yeah, it is. It is a great feeling. There's obviously a lot of great spiritual blessings that come from being in Maywood, for the week. But we also have a lot of fun. I mean,
hey,
I think I broke at least 2 ribs at Maywood a few years ago playing softball. In fact, I think that ended my softball career after that. Man. But the sports is always so much fun. We have a camp, and
it's a blast.
The swimming pool is just everybody's favorite place to be in the afternoon.
Love the swim time. Man, that's a cool down from the heat. Enjoy the swim time.
And for those of y'all that we talk about filling the schedule in the summer. for us, our congregation, we always go week 6 to Maywood,
right.
which is Jerry Jenkins week.
Right.
Jerry, who was the minister here at Deerfoot for 40 plus years,
yeah.
he was one of the founders of Maywood Christian Camp more
Right.
than 50 years ago. And so this week was after he passed away, that was named after him. But this is the week. It's always the Sunday after the 4th of July. It's
Right.
always the week we go to Maywood. So, you talk about filling your calendar. We already know when Maywood's going to be.
When
next year.
Maywood's going to be. When campaign's going to be. It's scheduled.
It pretty much is.
Routine.
It's not really a matter of when things are going to happen. It's where they're going to happen, and like with
Right.
the youth campaign, or
Yeah.
or topics, what's going to be discussed and that sort of thing.
Right.
So, absolutely, just really,
it's a fun week, man.
It is a fun week. There's no doubt. All right, so we get through Maywood, and it takes us like 2 years to rest up from Maywood. So
Yeah.
it feels like it.
Still struggling.
It is, yeah. You still just you just got the Maywood hangover, but it's a great feeling. So we get like a week off, and then we're getting
Right.
near the end of July now here, but it's still not over for you.
No. We gear up for AIMCon, which is Adventures in Ministry conference. It's at Faulkner University, which is a good Christian school to go to, along with Freed and Harding and all those other good schools. It's a little quick hour-and-a-half drive down there. Without AC this time. The AC just conveniently on the bus decided to go out the day we got in it. So that was a fun trip. AIMCon is a good conference. It's good for our young people. A lot of our area-wide churches attend the AIMCon conference.
Yeah,
and a lot of folks from out of state come.
Well,
it's
yeah.
kinda
I
neat,
mean, it
so.
does pull from. If I remember, because I was there too, helping with audio video
Right.
production on that. But I'm wanting to say, 600-700 maybe, something like that.
that's
I
a good
mean,
number.
the gymnasium there at Faulkner was full. It was really just a really neat event.
Yes, it was. The topics there were great. I think the kids enjoyed the classes, their tribe times and things like that.
Yeah.
It was very good. The topics were good, but I think they really get a fun joy out of seriously unserious.
I think that probably rank up there.
That's a talked about thing for AIMCon. It's like, are y'all gonna have that again this year? And
it is unique to AIMCon, and I've talked to the people that put that event on for several years about that now, and the amount of time and effort they put into planning seriously unserious, and it's for those of you that don't know, that it's about an hour-long event of really just having fun,
right,
but
right.
it's planned fun. It's not something like, hey, we'll just get up and tell some jokes, or just.
Right.
I mean, it is a series of things, of activities that they do with several hundred kids at one time in a room.
Yeah, it's a.
And that's not easy.
No, it's not. It's kind of a. Are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
But they pull off nicely.
They do.
It's organized, fun, and it's good for the kids.
Yeah.
It's a good time for them to release energy before they go to bed.
It used to be.
And it's good.
It used to be on Saturday afternoon. I remember a few years ago when they did Seriously
Right.
Unserious. They did it like after lunch, and it was fun. But then I think like they did it a year or two, and then they skipped a year. And it was like 1 year they didn't do it.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Where's Seriously Unserious? Why is it not?
Yeah.
So I think they looked at their schedule and decided, Friday night might be a really good time for that.
What's a youth minister's friend? When you get when it's time to go to bed and this guy's tired and your chaperones are going, are they going to bed yet? And they said, well, the curfew's 12. And you're like, huh? Well, that excitement right there kind of takes out the energy from the kids, and they're ready to go to bed and get their next day started. So
yeah. Well,
it's good.
It is a youth minister's friend. That's a really. I'll need to make sure they see that part, because I'm sure they'll enjoy that. A conference, being a youth minister's friend. That's really good stuff. So that's a weekend event at Faulkner University down in Montgomery.
Right. Right.
And then for us, I guess we come back and we kind of wrapped up this year like we have many summers with our gospel meeting.
Right, and that's kind of a back to back. And I meant to put this on my notes here, but. We had an intern this year, a preacher intern.
Yeah.
You know, I had my 4 interns from the youth group, but Richard had an intern, Josh. I don't know
Josh
if y'all-
Dykes.
Josh Dykes.
Yeah.
And he did a fantastic job in involving our youth guys at a Rocket Gospel meeting. A Rocket Revival is what he called it.
Oh, wow.
And Argo. The Margaret Church of Christ.
Margaret Church of Christ,
right.
yeah.
I guess it's in Margaret.
Yeah.
And he involved our guys, did a Rocket Revival there for Sunday, but he had to come together and build the campaign up, do that. So we came home early from AIMCON for our guys to speak at Margaret Church of Christ. And so some of our youth went over there and to support those guys who were speaking, and even our youth guys speaking and leading song service. And they handled the whole service, which was really neat. So it was kind of neat to see that and our young guys involved. And
it sounds almost a little bit like the church that we went for youth campaign on in Williamston. I mean, kind of a small church, you know, that could use our assistance.
Without a doubt.
Instead of driving 6, 7, 8 hours away, it was 30 minutes away from here. So yeah, absolutely.
So it was a good event. That was fantastic.
That's neat. Yeah, good initiative.
The experience.
Well, good experience, good initiative on, it's not something that some adults said, this is what you should do. That was something that he came up with on his own.
Right,
so
right.
That's really absolutely cool.
Yeah.
That is neat. All right, so we wrap up the summer after the Rocket Revival and AIMCON with our gospel meeting, which, we had Andrew here last week and talked with him about that.
Fantastic.
But the youth was involved in that too. I mean, that wasn't just an adult event.
Right.
I mean, the youth were, you and the youth were involved in that as well.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about our local campaign is that we get our youth and adults working together, or we try to get them to work together. That and our younger ones, our I think we had Joshua was out there, my 14-month-old. Yelling, doing his thing. But we had our little preschool kids, our elementary kids out there washing cars along with our youth and adults.
Wow.
They were out there washing cars and talking to people and inviting them to our gospel meeting and handing out BCCs and things like that. And then Brother John Gallagher, who said, hey, we need to feed these folks some hot dogs and drinks. And I was like, man, why not? That gets them sitting down and the folks, the adults that were involved, got to chat with people from the community and invite them. So they've got a double dose of car wash and eating hot dogs of us saying, hey, come to our gospel meeting. Oh, we heard from them up there. Well, we're going to talk to you again. So come on, we'd like to have you. And then our school supply drive. Our youth interns put bags together, school supplies for our kids around the community. And we ended up handing out for that 130 bags of school supplies.
Wow.
And ended up washing 20 cars, 45 BCCs.
That's great.
Were handed out. And
that's great.
And about 3 or 4 in-home Bible studies. So from that, it was great for us. It was great for the community. It was great for our members.
That's fantastic.
So a lot of involvement.
The servant aspect. I've always, I feel like that service and serving others and loving others, they go hand in hand. When you love someone, I feel like the ability to be able to serve them and help them with their needs, because we all have needs at some point in our lives, and being able to help each other in that way.
Right.
That's just a great servant's heart,
It feels good. It feels good for the church.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
So that's and that the gospel meeting now and today we've reached now the beginning of August, and the kids are headed back off to school. You can take a breath.
Yeah.
You can finally breathe and exhale.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, the interns are back in school, and now here's JJ kind of like. But as we were talking, it's you might get a moment to exhale and breathe, but the fun continues, the busyness continues.
Oh
fall.
Yeah. Well, you got to continue your planning for the summertime. Now's the time to start getting things back together, organized and scheduled for the summer events. Maywood kind of handles itself. VBS will meet and talk about. Youth campaign is probably the biggest scheduling and planning and organizing event to do, and then you get back into your AIMCON. You just it's a well-oiled machine.
Sure.
You got your rhythm going, but slows down a little bit. Get to breathe a little bit. Get in the routine of our area-wide devotionals. That'll start kicking back in full gear again.
Yeah, the area-wide stuff, I guess, gets started back up here soon.
Yeah,
and then
August the 19th, we'll have our first area-wide devotional.
Okay. And when you say area-wide, I guess I didn't explain this earlier. There's several churches within the immediate area here around the Birmingham area that all get together about once a month. The youth from each of these congregations do they'll go around to each of the different churches, or maybe meet somewhere in a central location to kind of get together and let all the youth, in a more area-wide event.
Right.
I guess fellowship, worship.
We'll have a worship that Sunday night, and then we'll usually fellowship with one another. We'll have a good meal, and of course the youth ministers get together and discuss what the next meet is and things like that. So it's good for the kids. They have a lot of fun with it, and they get good lessons from it from different ministers and speakers and things like that. Well,
all right. So before we wrap up here, let's talk a little bit about this fall.
Yeah.
Because I know you've got several things on the plate this fall. It's not like a summer. It obviously is a little slower, but even with football season, there's still some things going on this fall with the youth group as well.
Well, like I said, we'll start back with our area-wide devotionals and our local devotionals at people's homes, youth homes, parents that like to host that. Yeah. Which is always good for the young people to, not have a classroom setting, but get into somebody else's home and fellowship and hear lessons from either our youth guys or from the dads of the home. It's good to hear. Yeah. We'll go from that, and then our next church event is Trunk or Treat. And I can't believe I'm talking about that already, but that's right around the corner.
It's like we're in August, but you're right.
I'm pretty sure I just got done with Christmas.
Halloween will be here before you know it.
Halloween will be here. It's a fun time of the year. Trunk or Treat is always a blast. It gets the time for everybody to dress up and have fun and, joke on each other, or say, man, that's a great costume. That was a great idea. But October 27th is our Trunk or Treat date. Okay. It's always fun. Bring your car out, decorate your trunk, get some candy, bring some candy. The cakewalk, the whole thing, it's a blast.
Fun and food and more fun. And
it's a fantastic outreach.
It is absolutely. It'll be great. All right, so that's October 27th.
October 27th, and then we go into our youth fall retreat. It's at Mentone, Alabama. Okay. We actually stay in a bunkhouse. 50 beds over here for guys, 50 beds for girls. Fantastic kitchen and playroom and chapel room. Big field. It's a fantastic place. It's called the Wilderness, man. And the kids love it. They say, we're going back. We're going back to the wilderness. Oh, yeah. So I already got that scheduled. That's another part of that scheduling thing. Good. But got him. I got that lined up, and I talked to Mason Chandler. Yeah. One of our longtime youth buddies who was part of the youth group back in the day.
A youth group alumni.
Alumni. And that's what I try to do for our guest speaker at our fall retreats, is to get Deerfoot, Roebuck, Deerfoot alumni to speak at these things. So hopefully we can have him come speak with us. He's agreed to do it.
If not, he just got called out on Facebook and on the podcast here. So.
Hey, if you can't understand, but now you got to.
No pressure, but now you got to.
Now you got to, man. But just the love that the alum of the youth group have for the youth, and the adults that have the love for the youth, it's great to be a youth minister for Deerfoot Church of Christ. It's incredible.
That's fantastic.
The elders, the deacons, it's fantastic. So, so our fall youth retreat's coming up November 9th through 11th. All right. That's around Veterans Day weekend. So we'll have it then. And then the next event after that comes in December. It's our Pizza with Santa. Everybody loves some pizza with Santa. Man, and that Santa character, he's something else. The Pizza with Santa is December the 7th. Okay. And we'll definitely have a school supply drive with that, and maybe something else that'll go along with it. There's always a group of people that meet for that. It starts on the Facebook chat, and for both of these events, it's a team of people that get together and do all this. This, like I said, it's not the youth ministry. No, it's never one person. Right. There's always a group of incredible people that get together and put this thing together. Yep. And you just can't ever talk enough about them, how they come together and they know their job, they do it. Right. You don't have to say, why didn't you do that? It's good. So our pizza was Santa December 7th, and then to end, I mean, this is the last event, and you can't get any closer to the new year, to start the new year.
This is true. Yeah.
Is Exposure.
Exposure Youth Camp.
Exposure Youth Camp.
Yep.
It's a fantastic youth camp, and I think you run the audio and visual for that.
Yeah,
right?
I'll be there for that, and been blessed to be on the board of directors for that too.
Right,
and
right,
and
that's
it is quite an event. December 27th through the 30th every year, and we're in Huntsville again this year at the Von Braun Civic
Love it,
Center.
Huntsville,
and,
man. That's a place for it.
last year, record attendance, had over 2,500 kids and adults there. It is well. We just finished up. Let's see. Last year was finished up. It was our 20th anniversary, I believe. I believe that's right. So, starting our 21st year, and
awesome.
It is an incredible 3-4 days of and it kind of fills that gap because and you understand this with the youth minister. You got kids after Christmas and they're like, all right, I'm bored, what are we going to do now?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where Exposure kind of comes in and fills that gap some, and does more than just gives them a place to go. I mean, it's really
right. Oh yeah, it's
really
a great time.
thing. So
it's filled with a lot of good speakers too. That's what I like about it. There's great speakers,
tremendous,
amazing singing. The atrium singing that's there is always incredible.
That's probably the calling card of the event, and it's been streamed live on Facebook. I know the atrium singing from not this past December, but the December before, when we streamed it live on Facebook, reached more than 1 million people around the world. Just absolutely incredible. And it's amazing when you hear more than 2,000 people. We filled the atrium of the Embassy Suites Hotel in Huntsville, and everybody stands on all the floors and the balconies and just sings for about 30 minutes. And it's just absolutely amazing to listen to. So
it's amazing to listen to, and the thought that singing a gospel hymnal or devotional song that could be reaching other people that hear that and go, well, I need to know a little bit more about that, and they start asking questions.
That's it. We'll have people, we've had for several years now, thanks to the atrium singing either being discovered on YouTube or Facebook, whatever. We'll have people. We've had congregations, people coming from Nebraska all the way to Huntsville, Alabama for this.
That's cool.
We had some folks reach out last year from California wanting to come to Huntsville. I mean, it is really
cool.
It's been absolutely amazing. So, but you're right. It takes you right up to the very end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it fills the year. So it really, really is good. Well, before we go, I did want to mention we have had quite a number of people jump in here on Facebook for people that are watching this live. There's the numbers, and even Richard on vacation has jumped in here.
I hear you, Richard.
Richard saying this is outstanding. Gail Vine says, good work, Jonathan. Richard said this youth program never stops. That's true, just like Richard never stops. He's on vacation and he's still commenting on vacation. Richard says, don't forget the group me with the college-aging youth. Yeah, I mean, you talk about constant communication.
Without a doubt, yeah.
And Richard, 24 years since I was a camper, to be exact. So we were close. We were in the ballpark, weren't we?
Sure, your age there, man. 24 years ago. Woo!
Yeah. So when the Stone Age, when Richard was at Maywood Christian Camp. So, and Patricia Christian commented, God bless your ministry. Continue on in the name of Jesus.
Yes,
so it's fantastic, and man,
that's awesome.
I see a lot of familiar faces jumping in here and watching today too.
That's cool.
So been great. Well, congratulations on making it through another summer, and enjoy the sleep that you'll get now for 3 or 4 days now that all the kids are back in school, and get recharged for the fall. So it should be fantastic. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you.
For everybody listening, Richard, he should be back next week. So, and you're welcome to always make an appearance.
I'll try to do
this. You can always peek around the corner.
I just don't want to come in on, Jesus died on the cross.
Might not be the most appropriate
good time. Yeah.
We should make a bat signal when it's okay for JJ to appear.
Hey, the Captain Faith, I'll answer for him.
True.
I'll answer for him.
Captain Faith could make an appearance. That'd be great.
Oh, man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
See y'all next week.